Little secret here, guys, and it's not even a secret, but many people don't know it. So in a way, if you've never heard of this before, it might be a secret, and it might be the best kept secret that you never knew about that can really help your life and your digestion. A lot of people, they eat a lot of different proteins from different sources. For instance, some people will drink a lot of bovine cow's milk, whole milk, and they wonder why they're bloated, right? Or they might have a lot of soy protein, which can cause bloating as well. Long story short, and it's not just proteins that are causing this bloating. If you're experiencing any degree of bloating whatsoever after you eat, and it can be remarkably uncomfortable, walking around with your gut distended like that, there's been times in the past where I've been so bloated that I was just totally miserable, and you don't want to get yourself into a situation like that. And when you have bloating, it means one of two things, in my opinion. You're either eating foods that are not compatible with your system, and it's usually you're mixing multiple foods, right? So if you mix a lot of foods that your body's not compatible with, you'll bloat. On top of that, there might be too much sodium in it, which can cause bloating. But more often than not, folks, what's happened is that your body's digestive capabilities have been totally wrecked by living in this insane culture. And many of us, before we become conscious, we eat crap for over 20 years before we go, hey, maybe we should, stop the bullshit. So, long story short, the digestion gets ruined. Or not ruined per se, but it does get wrecked. And most people do not have good digestion. You can say what you want, but it is a 100% fact. People on a mass level here in this insane country, the United States, eat so much shit. And that's not just me, an opinion. That's a statistic. We eat more junk food. It's disgusting. No wonder there's so many issues, right? But let me just get to the gist of this. Digestive enzymes, folks. If you take a digestive enzyme, the right enzyme, or combination of enzymes, when you eat your meals, after a week, usually the first day, you won't have anywhere near as much bloating. And the more you take them, the better it'll get, right? So a lot of people, for instance, they eat a lot of dairy. They eat a lot of bovine cow milk products. And most people, whether you're aware of it or not, have some degree of lactose intolerance. So how do you get rid of that? Well, you take a lactase enzyme with it. Or just any good quality digestive enzyme, especially a complex like Source Naturals. They have, I think it's called Essential Digestion. It's a mixture of powerful enzymes. This was a huge game changer for me, guys. And you especially want to be consuming a digestive enzyme if you're consuming certain plant proteins which are hard to digest. So you can say what you want. You can try to tell me that all proteins are the same. Folks, they're not. The soy protein, for instance, has a completely different structure than bovine protein. Spirulina protein has much different protein than lamb protein. Oftentimes, the plant-based proteins are more complex, which means that your liver and your body has to do more breaking apart of the daisy-chained chemical bonds that hold the amino acids together on these protein structures. So, and because of that, by the time you oftentimes people don't digest or break apart all those chemical bonds by the time the protein exits the gut. So you have these non-broken apart amino acid strands held together by these chemical bonds tumbling through your digestive system, causing havoc. So what do? You take a digestive enzyme. This will help your body break apart these constituents that it's having trouble by itself doing. And as you continue to do this, your digestive fortitude will increase. And then over time, you can even wean yourself off the digestive enzymes. Enzymes are crucial, folks. This is one of the reasons why I suggest that you consume fermented foods, but not the crap from the store that's not anywhere near live as it should be. You need homemade fermented foods. We just did a 2-part course on the Patreon page on how to make 2 different fermented fruit potions. The bacteria is going to eat up all the sugar from the fruit, and you're going to be left with an enzyme and microbe full rich. It's enzyme rich, it's microbe rich, and it's full of beneficial bacteria for your system. This is the type of stuff you want to be introducing into your system, especially on an empty stomach while fasted. See, I have a whole protocol for, you regaining digestive fortitude. It's very simple. It's to the point. We're going to have a course available on the .com soon on exactly how to do that. So you can download the information, digest it, and put it into play. Very simple, guys. Oftentimes the solutions to these complex worldly problems are actually very basic. But we've been hypnotized by the Western medical establishment and all these experts that, what are they fucking fixing? Honestly. All the, quote, experts in the world here in the United States and worldwide. And what have they solved? Cancer's still a mystery. It just, Jesus Christ, even the basic chronic health issues are a mystery to these pimps in white coats, butcher coats. My God. So take a digestive enzyme. And what I like to do is I break my fast usually with a pretty complex, I don't like smoothie, such a dumb word, right? A smoothie, but it is. There's some fruit in there, not much. There's some goat milk, some raw eggs, spirulina, chondrus crispus, a broad spectrum of mushrooms. Maybe I'll do a course on that in the future as well. I don't want to get into some huge explanation here of what I'm consuming, but there are quite a few different protein sources in that drink. So what do? Well, I use pancreatin, crush it into a powder, and that's a digestive enzyme. Put it in my blender as it's blending, and that way it mixes with the surface area. It's getting adequately mixed into the food, the smoothie, right? And then after I have the smoothie, I eat my food, and then it sits on top of that, which is full of either bromelain, Source Naturals digestive enzymes, just some type of digestive enzyme. In your food, you guys, you're going to feel so much better, no more bloating, and on top of that, you're going to extract more nutrients from your food because, like I said earlier, oftentimes with our erect digestion, we don't fully break apart proteins before they're ferried into the small intestine. That's a huge problem. That means that you're not going to be absorbing anywhere near as much nutrition from your food as you may think you are. So, and on top of that, always remember that not all proteins are the same. I hate to say it. I used to believe that, for instance, the protein in spirulina is the same as the protein in bovine cow flesh. Not the same, or not the case. Excuse me. And that's just a fact, folks. It may bother you emotionally, but it's a fact. And many people get really emotional because, oh, you're saying that plant proteins are more complex and harder for the body to digest? Yeah, and that's a fact. It's a fact. And your genetics also play a big role in your ability to easily or in a non-easy fashion digest plant proteins. So we can avoid this situation almost entirely with proper enzyme therapy. And this is something that you have to do for at least a month, guys. Don't just try it once and think that that's it. You need to populate your system with these enzymes. Bromelain's a great one. It's extracted from pineapple. And it really does indeed not only break apart proteins and make them easier to digest, but it also is very anti-inflammatory. This is something that you can take as an alternative to ibuprofen, to aspirin, to non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. You just got to get the dosage right. I'm not saying it's going to get rid of your pain to the same extent, but you should look up bromelain, bromelain. Look up bromelain and the success stories that people have had with that particular enzyme. And that enzyme's neat because you can use it when you're not eating to reduce swelling, to reduce pain. There's so many people that I've communicated with myself who, even after surgery, the pain, etc., taking bromelain, and you have to be careful with that. You have to always be careful because some of these enzymes are really strong. Can't mix them with other drugs, etc. So don't think I'm telling you to just shove bromelain down your throat without proper discernment. That's why we have disclaimers on this channel. That's why I say things like this. You got to be smart. But again, there's a multi-pronged hub, if you will, as to the health benefits of digestive enzymes. You're not going to bloat, but that's just the byproduct of you actually digesting your food, right? And when you take the enzymes, the proteins, the amino acids that are held together via daisy-chained chemical bonds are going to be broken apart better when you take these enzymes, which means that you're going to extract more nutrition from your food, and you're really going to be able to weave that protein into your whole system. You are a proteinaceous entity. You need protein. I fell for the idea that we need far less than we do. In the raw vegan community, that's a thing that's heavily promoted, and especially in the raw fruitarian community. Guys, some of these motherfuckers, no offense, look so thin and so malnourished. For one, there's no protein in fruit. And if there is, it's such a negligible amount that, my God, it's no wonder a 200-pound muscular man can go on a raw fruitarian diet and in less than 6 months lose considerable fucking protein. The sarcopenia in the raw food community is through the roof. And I'm not saying that it can't be done right, because it can. But it's not as easy as just, I'm just going to eat 30 fucking bananas a day. Please. We need to resupply the proteinaceous tissues in our body with adequate protein saturation. And I'm sorry, there's a good chance if you're watching this video, you've eaten at least over 5 years of the standard American diet, if not longer. Be honest with yourself. I did it for fucking a very long time before I went, wait a minute. What am I doing? And even when you first start realizing that, oftentimes, folks, you still hold on to the standard American foods for a while. It's a struggle to fully detach yourself from them because culture has been built around this to a large extent. How are you going to say no to Thanksgiving dinner or this, that, and the other? You've got to become divinely selfish, I call it, right? You've got to lead by example. And oftentimes that's uncomfortable for people because you have to learn to say no. And the energy of saying no at certain times with family members, etc., can be rather uncomfortable. But by leading by example and trotting forth, others will see that light and want to mimic you, because everyone at the end of the day wants to be healthier, folks. We're addicted to standard American foods. And don't try to tell me that we're not. Just because you've found peace within eating this shit, or you've built a career eating this shit with the mukbangs, etc. Please. Stuff is garbage. It's fucking garbage, folks. Not saying you can't have some here and there. There's a time and a place for everything. But my God, you're going to base the foundation of your diet on shit full of glyphosate, full of heavy metals, full of aluminum, full of different phthalates, bad plastics, estrogen mimickers. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? It's no wonder to someone like me, you look so fucking confused, in a haze. And that's something you'll be able to see when you drop the fucking nonsense and you get healthy. What do you think health is, folks? Just the health of your body? Please. The most important thing that we try to achieve with health is the clarity and the sanity of the mind, which has been stolen from you by this insane system. Once you have clarity, you will see. You will not just look at things like all the sheep looking. You'll see. You'll see to the center of things. You'll be able to discern properly, because now you're a human lie detector because your mind works properly. You'll be able to see that the world is ran by lost souls. The blind lead the blind. They always have, and they most likely always will. But digestive enzymes, to summarize, they're going to help you break apart protein structures. They're going to help you assimilate the amino acids that are contained therein once their respective chemical bonds, their daisy-chained chemical bonds, are broken apart. You're going to not only extract more protein from your food, these enzymes are going to help you absorb micronutrients, things like magnesium, things like boron, things like vanadium, things like zinc, right? You're going to get more out of your food. So you could eat, just because something says it has protein or vitamin D, for instance, on paper, this food doesn't mean you're getting that. For one, is it bioavailable? If not, we have to take steps to make it more bioavailable. And digestive enzymes are not the only part of the solution here, folks. Got a video on probiotics I'm going to release pretty soon. That's important too. Probiotic and enzyme therapy. Again, going to have a course available as well with all the key information. Boom, instant download on my website. You can share it with your friends and family. Let's all get healthy together. Let's drop the bullshit, all the fantasy and all the nonsense. Got to get our minds right, guys. Got to get your minds right. Where was I going with that? There was another thing I wanted to say. Damn it. This is one of the reasons why gluten should absolutely be avoided unless it's on special occasions, you guys. Gluten is a family of proteins. It's also Latin for glue. Do you want to be eating something known as glue? And it is like glue. Take some flour, get it wet, throw it on a wall and let it dry. It'll be there for fucking 5 years. It's like glue. And in fact, they make, I believe, an adhesive out of the aqueous gluten-laden liquid that can be extracted from gluten like protein, from these proteins, a gluten flour, or flour. Ugh, tongue twister, excuse me. Of that family of multiple proteins, gluten contains two main proteins, glutenin and gliadin. These are almost impossible for your body to fully digest before they exit the stomach and are ferried into the small intestine. They then proceed to tumble through your digestive system and destroy it, your small intestine, etc., and it cakes to the sides of your alimentary tract. Don't try to tell me it doesn't. I've done extensive gluten detox and kicked so much of this waste out of my system. So gluten should be avoided. What are you talking about, Sacred Serpent? I love gluten, but you can't give it up for fucking a year. You can't give it up for even a day, some of you, let alone a week or a month. Think about the ridiculousness of that. That shows you how addicted you are to these foods, where you, in your mind, before you even try, you have this self-defeatist attitude and you say, I can't do it. I couldn't live without that, really? Is that how weak you are? I mean, if gluten's that important to you, go for it. I guess consume it till the day you die. But my God, you can't let go of a fucking food item that's produced by the Matrix on a mass level and then shuttled into these supermarkets, which are fucking death-dealing fucking waste bins. My God, guys, come on. Come on. The most gluten-containing foods are also chock full of glyphosate. They're full of herbicide. Herbicide kills things, folks. Dr. Kassar had a great video about this recently. There, he talks about glyphosate and herbicide often, but I can't remember the name of the video of his. It's an hour and a half long. He shows how glyphosate killed a handful of his sheep on his property because this neighbor along the fence line sprayed a bunch of glyphosate into the grass that his animals grazed on. Man, and that was an awesome video because Doc gets on his ass on the end and confronts this guy and gives him a piece of his mind. And it's like, that video is fucking amazing. A hard watch too, because you'll see, if you want, you can watch the video. I'll do my best to remember to put the link in the description box. But man, guys, glyphosate, herbicide, how many megatons of this shit has been sprayed into our biosphere? Why do you think there's so much plant die-off right now? Doc also has some great videos on his channel talking about the mystery die-off of trees in the grass. Guys, the people running the show, you don't realize this in your state of hypnosis. They're trying to kill everything. They're going against God's creation. What do you think the literal Satan is? What are you, foolish? Have you been that led astray? There is a war right now between good and evil, and they're destroying the biosphere. And my God, of course they are. We've participated in it by destroying our health first and foremost, especially the mental health, which is largely a byproduct or a mirroring effect. Your mental health is a mirror of your physical health. Got to snap out of your trance. I'm going to wrap this one up.